Hello, everyone, and welcome back to History with Matt. Today, we're going to be discussing the news of Larry Hogan, who has just announced his last-minute Senate bid in Maryland. We'll be talking about, is this state winnable for him? What are the implications of this? Is it going to affect the race at all? We're going to delve into it. First, we're going to read this Washington Post article, and then we're going to gather my thoughts on it after. As I said, it was a last-minute decision. Hours before the filing deadline. It's an open seat. Ben Cardin isn't running, the former senator, or soon to be former senator, who had the staffer incident, to say the least. Hogan led the deeply Democratic state for 2 terms and left office with high approval ratings. But he previously ruled out a run for Senate in 2022 to chase a potential presidential bid he abandoned last year. Yep, Mitch McConnell tapped him to run for the Senate race last year, but he declined. In a video announcing his 2024 Senate bid to succeed retiring Democratic Senator Ben Cardin, Hogan said Washington is completely broken because a willingness to put country ahead of party is far too rare. Using lines familiar to Maryland residents, he cast his candidacy as one against partisanship in general, and he described himself as like the exhausted majority of Marylanders. He used the phrase, I watched the video, he used the phrase, you know me. He tapped on being a centrist, as being a common sense Republican. He's the only high profile Republican in the race. He's by far the strongest Republican in the race. And, there's only 2 other Democratic challengers, the more establishment David Trone and the more less establishment Angela also Brooks. Probably I would say a bit more progressive. He's a recruitment boost. At the end of the day, you could read through this article yourself. I'll link this article in the description. It talks about how the Republican governor primary, which Trump endorsed Dan Cox. Dan Cox lost. Hogan's successor lost the primary, so that kind of was seen as a wee bit of a repudiation of his tenure. Now we talk about David Trone, who says Marylanders are tired of empty promises from career politicians like Larry Hogan, said David Trone, a 3-term congressman. He talks about putting politics aside, but spent his entire 10 years governor waging partisan attacks through bad policy. Trone said, pointing to the ways Hogan failed the city of Baltimore, despite Baltimore being run by Democrats for however many years. Hogan infuriated the Maryland Democrats for years with his ability to sidestep divisive social issues, such as calling abortion a matter of settled law in Maryland, and focusing instead on pocketbook matters and criticising politicians for being partisan. He was co-chair of the Centre's No Labels. That was what I thought he would go into, be a vice presidential candidate for that, but it's obviously decided against that. But then we're going to look at some previous races. First of all, his race in 2018. His governor race in 2018. This was, to say the least, an emphatic one for him. Beating Ben Jealous, who was, I think, he was the chair of the National NAACP. Won this by 11 points by doing relatively well and getting down the margins in, let's see if we can go into this, in Prince William, Chester County, Charles County, Baltimore City and Baltimore County, and just doing Annapolis. I think Annapolis is over here. Just doing well in this part. Montgomery County as well, and Frederick. He did well here while running up the margins in the Republican areas. He is the first Republican to be re-elected since Spiro Agnew. No, before that, Ben Aldrich. 2014, he ran 2014, the really red year of 2014, and won. So it just shows, and prior to that, in 2002, that was the last time before Hogan that a Republican won. So it does show that it has a willingness in recent times to elect Republicans. But governor races are less partisan. They're a lot less polarized, and they're a lot more open to voting for other sides. Look at Kentucky. Look at trying to think of another state off the top of my head. The Mississippi race. I know it didn't go for Brandon Presley, but it was close. You look at Vermont, New Hampshire. Those are some states that will buck their presidential margins and vote for a viable alternative if it's there on the other party. However, the key thing in this is that yes, he did well. He won by 3 points. He then won by 11 points. That's all well and good. The last time Ben Cardin's seat, the seat he's running for, went Republican is 1970. 1970 is the last time this Class 1 Senate seat went to the Republican Party. That is significant. That is, and it's not just a single Senate seat. The last time Maryland elected a Republican to the Senate was 1980. Charles Mathis, who was already a long-time leader of, who was already a long time incumbent. That was the last time a Republican was elected to Maryland. This is going to be a monumental task for Hogan. Is it possible? I don't see it. If we look at the Senate race in 2022, there's Chris Van Holland. Look at he could bring this down to a 10-point victory. He could bring this down to a 20-point victory. He could bring this down to any sort of thing. But at the end of the day, the partisanship in Maryland speaks for itself. Could he get 45%? That would be a very much a win for Larry Hogan. Not only does it do that, it also makes Democrats have to invest funds into Maryland, which will take away from the vital states of Montana, Ohio, and West Virginia. That the GOP, if they flip, they win, and Nevada and Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin. That's another one that Democrats have to go on the defensive on. I see this as being a similar margin of victory. Probably might get 40% of the vote, 45%, somewhere around that. He's not going to win. I don't see him winning. I don't see it how it's possible. But he will overperform the top of the ticket. And this is a net positive for Republicans. But that's all I've got time for in this video. If you enjoy these type of videos, consider subscribing, liking, leaving a comment. If there is a comment, I will read it and I will get back to you on that. I have an email linked. I will link a video of the Twitter, of his Twitter announcement. And thank you very much for watching this video. Goodbye.